video is going to take you through the process of going backwards and writing quadratic equations from the given answers or the roots. You may have to pause to write down the steps, and the steps are as follows. Set each solution equals x. So I'm going to do that first. My solutions are 8 and -3, so we'll set them each equal to x. Then we're going to get each equation equal to 0. Now, in order to do this, if we have a fraction, there's an extra step we're going to take, but here you can subtract 8 from both sides. We'll get x minus 8 equals 0. So it's kind of like going backwards in the solve by factoring process, at least in these. We'll get x plus 3 equals 0 for the other one. So it's as if you're going backwards. Then we're going to multiply the two factors, x minus 8 times x plus 3 equals 0. Take it back one more step. FOIL, so x squared plus 3x minus 8x minus 24 equals 0, and then simplify. Combine like terms if necessary. Usually you'll have to do that. And that's it. So it's taking the answers to a solve by factoring or quadratic formula, or completing the square and working your way backwards to get the original problem. Make sure that this is what you box off, and it's always very important that you set your final answer equal to 0. A lot of people forget to do that. You want to make it an equation. I'm going to take you through a couple more examples. Pause if you need to take a break, because this might be a little bit long, because I'm going to do 3 more. All right, this next example, after you set them equal, your goal here is not to have any fractions in your final answer. So to get rid of the denominator, we're going to multiply both sides by that denominator first. So in this case, we're going to have 2x equals 1. Oh, it's a -1, hold up. And 2x equals -3. Make sure to do that first. That will get rid of any fractions. Then we'll get everything equal to 0. So it'll be 2x plus 1 equals 0. 2x plus 3 equals 0. Multiply the two factors. FOIL. And then combine your like terms. So the only difference between this one and the previous is that you want to get rid of the fractions if you have one or both being fractions by doing that multiplying on both sides. You can do that at the end also, but it's much easier to FOIL if you're working with whole numbers. Okay, our next example is going to look kind of weird. There are no fractions here, but we do have imaginary solutions. You can almost treat the imaginary solutions as if it just said a -5 and a +5. So we're going to get these equal to 0. Now I know we didn't factor anything where we factored with I, but if we do FOIL this, what will happen is we will get rid of the I term in the middle. So we'll get x squared minus 5i times x plus 5i times x, which will cancel, minus 25i squared. Now remember, I squared is equal to -1. That's going to be an important replacement that we will make right here. These middle two terms will cancel out. We'll get x squared minus 25 times -1 equals 0, which comes out to x squared plus 25 equals 0. Now if you were to go backwards and think about solving that, if you subtracted 25 from both sides and square rooted, you would get an imaginary solution from that because you'd have a negative under your radical. So you can almost treat this the same way as we did the other ones, just going to have an extra added element. And our last example is going to have that extra piece also, will be a square root example. This will look a little more complicated, but we really can do this the same way we did the other few problems. Set your solutions equal to x. Get those equal to 0. And really, 3 squared root of 11 is a number. It just has a radical, so it does look more complicated. We'll multiply our two parentheses. Now notice again we're getting that difference of squares because we have a positive and a negative sign. The parentheses look almost the same. So when you FOIL this, you are going to get the x terms to cancel. Now be careful when multiplying this next part. You're going to have minus 9 square root 121, which will be 9 times 11. So our final answer will be x squared minus 99 equals 0. Again, the key element here is the fact that these middle terms do cancel out. And just make sure also, when you multiply square root of 11 times square root of 11, you get that square root of 121, and you actually take the square root to get 11, so you have only numbers in your final answer, meaning whole integers, no radicals left, no i's left in your final answer. Make sure that you complete all the notes on this. Go back to anything that you need to see again and ask questions if you're not sure how to complete something before doing the worksheet.